Hey folks, how's it going, Master? And welcome back to an episode of Cards and Castles TV commentary. Slowly getting our way up to episode 100 of this series, and hopefully we can get there before CNC2 launches as a nice way to kind of mark a milestone, if you will. But yeah, we've got some, as always, great matches lined up for you today. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and take you guys right into match number 1. Alright, folks, in match number 1 underway, we've got Milo taking on Elo 23-23. A bit of Pyro Crusader going up against the Pirate Druid, so we'll see what both players bring it to the table. And opening up, we can't really tell a whole lot from Elo's hand based on this. I mean, Shaman, Centaur, Bard, Bestiary Rage, all very common elements of various decks, unfortunately. Milo, on the other hand, going for the coin estate here, so potentially on some kind of school build. Of course, estates usually means school is somewhere close behind. We'll see the game open proper with a one-eyed Maddie here, resulting in the Mage Apprentice here getting some early board control. And forcing a pass from Elo, which makes sense. The Bard could come out, but of course the Centaur wouldn't be able to follow up, so realistically, not really a great opportunity to play the Bard here. We'll go over the Shaman in response to the armor here, getting some draw, but also more crucially, setting up this the Centaur for potentially a nasty Bestial Rage play. Blah, 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 I can't speak today. And yeah, that's going to connect through very well here. Centaur, of course, dropping right there. The Bestial Rage following suit. Yep, just like that. Popping the Armory, as well as popping, I imagine, the Tarius. It's much more dangerous than the Apprentice. The Apprentice, of course, just one attack off now that the Armory is gone. Horseman, though, going to come and clean up the board here, potentially. Yep, looks like it's going to, with popping the Centaur for free, keeping the body of Horseman here, and then following up with some defense of the Mage Apprentice here. We could see potentially another companion, but, of course, the hand does not yield it. Meanwhile, we'll get the Andrew going here, so we go to Last Will, which is always fun to see, and the Rider as well. So, a bit more of a Last Will strategy, if so. Very cool to see Last Will branching out again, doing some more things here. I think he's had this build for a while, but I'm not sure if I ever shown it off here on this segment. We'll see the Dagger Storm connect. I think all three landing on Andrew, which is quite unfortunate. We'll see how Elo is able to kind of turn this around. He's not got a whole lot of options here. A lot of very cheap units that you're going to see coming out on the board now. The Lumberjack, the Elvish Thief, another Shaman for draw. And yeah, I mean, okay, well, we're going to turn back on the Andrew with the Apprentice killing off the Lumberjack. Of course, the Last Will giving that health and attack boost to Andrew here. So, yeah, the Mage Apprentice is pretty much good as dead here if we decide to press in with him, that is. And I assume we might as well, because of course the bleed Dagger Storm is gonna kill off Andrew anyway. So good play here, of course, getting rid of that additional body, as well as the Fat Bard here now, so that way we can of course force some kind of response from Milo here against the Andrew. We're probably going to lose it to something like the Rusty Hooks, the Cannoneer, the Sniper, but at least put an attack effort into it, which is nice. It always forces that extra expenditure from your opponent here. We use the Fat Bard plus Cannoneer combo to clean this up here. The Sniper coming in to clean up the Salahar Rider. Dealing 2 to the Cannoneer, which is quite funny, but realistically not going to do anything at this particular moment. We could see a Centaur maybe, or a Spiny clear that, but, you know, it's going to take some time before I guess we're going to see another one in hand. Meanwhile, the Sniper trades off with the Pyromancer. And, of course, looking to push down is Elo here. I mean, against a setup like this, or just got to pause for a moment here. I mean, you had the Cannoneer, you had the Sniper earlier, the Mage Apprentice, a lot of range units coming out of Milo here, which, I mean, okay, that's certainly a direction you can go for. Not exactly the standard school approach that you would take with your units, but hey, whatever works. We're going to see, of course, the Cannoneer pop the Elvish Thief, it looks like. Another Dagger Storm going to connect on all the units but the Mordok. Quite unfortunate there. Sharpshooter coming out, so yet another range unit to kind of fuel my speculation that this could be more of a range school build. But we are going to see more range coming out from Elo this time. Of course, the Dwarven Scope is going to come in the Fat Bard for follow-up as well. Take a big chunk out of the castle here. Generate a free Wraith to pop the Cannoneer, as well as getting a Maddie shot in on castle, further reducing it. And again, keeping up the pressure here with pushing the remaining units here, forcing Milo to potentially take some not-so-stellar trades here just to protect some of these range units here. He did lose a very important one in the Cannoneer. He still has a Sharpshooter, though, which hopefully can do something good for him. The problem is now with the Mordok getting the scope, he has to be careful about how he interacts his range units with it, because of course now if Sharpshooter moves up one to take a shot, Mordok can potentially bounce off of that and generate another unit for free, as well as killing off the Sharpshooter. Not a very great trade for Milo here. You're actually going to see that come into play here momentarily, as we do see Sharpshooter not forgetting the church down. We are going to see him take a shot at the Mordok here. The Rusty Hooks, you see, triggering that range, that attack, because Mordok has the Dwarven Scope still attached to it. It's a permanent range buff. So, of course, this means that now Mordok is going to generate yet another unit for Milo to deal with here. Not something he can afford to do because he's already just down so much resources as compared to Elo, who has, Globals, Big Wraith, Mordok with Scope, now generating Banshees, which give him minor spells. At this point, the game is clearly over, and as you can see, Mordok connecting for the 6, Wraith for 5, the second new Wraith for an additional 5 for the game closer. Very nicely done by Elo in this matchup here. Getting a great understanding of the deck composition. We saw him hold that Mordok back. Potentially a instance of him knowing scope or range was in his deck somewhere and just needed to draw it out here. Very patient game from Elo here, which I do like to see here. Paid off for him in the end. And we'll get him the first victory of this episode of TV Commentary. But folks, there are more matches to get to after all. So let's go ahead and get right into match number 2. All right, folks, and game number 2, we'll see tyronereid. I'm just gonna say Tyrone for now. Taking on a Stinky, old friend here. Stinky's been, on and off for the last few years, I think, with the game here, but good to see that he's kind of taking some steps back in, especially with the sequel coming out. If you ever were looking for some really old footage regarding the CNC game, I highly recommend trying to find some of those old videos he did. Gives a lot of insight into some old cards that I think a lot of modern players might appreciate. Just looking into the past a little bit, sort of a window, if you will. But regardless, we're going to get back into the matchup here, as we do have Stinky going with a unusual blue-purple combination here against the common yellow-red. So we'll see what happens, as Stinky going to open up with a pass, it looks like, because hands looking interesting. Berserker for 1. Freezing Pillars I'm not surprised about. Those are everywhere, but, oh, okay, Ninja Training. Again, not a card you see often, but paying off in the form of Salahar Soldier here. Going to provide a nice little blocker for the Lumberjack here, as well as getting a little bit of cycling going for his deck. Magmasaur coming out, though, for Tyrone here, so not exactly the deck I thought we were going to see. That being either Last Roll or No Interaction here. This is going to be a potentially Dino deck here, which would be fun to kind of see how well Stinky can face that. Meanwhile, though, we are going to see Dwarf and Paladin. So, okay, the classic Dwarves and Dinos combination here coming out. And pushing up the Lumberjack here. Opening up for a potential Freezing Pillar here, but opting not to take it. In fact, going for the Armory. I guess I kind of understand why we might not go Pillar here, but it feels like Pillar is such a great tool at this particular point. Because, of course, you freeze off the Lumberjack, the Magmasaur, and you kind of protect the Pillar, I guess, up top here, because I think he was up quite a bit here with the Berserker, so he easily could have run it up to 3 spaces, dropped the Pillar here in front of Magmasaur, and kind of just protected himself with a little bit of a barrier here, and could have started chipping away at whatever Tyrone might have been putting in the back here. But we'll see if the Armory is more worthwhile in the end. We're going to see him place that right in the back there, back corner, great spot for it. And, of course, a simple pass back from there. Tyrone looking to Blue Firebolt the Armory. Okay, so that Armory did not stick around whatsoever. And into a Baby Dino we're going into. We still have the potential. Okay, we do have Swiftness. So this is actually going to clear off our his Magmasaur, which is great for us, or great for Stinky. We're not really in the matchup itself, but you know what I mean. Of course, following up with the Avalanche here, that's a bit of a sneaky trap. I guess a lot of freeze going on in the deck here, as we're looking now at the Yenneroth popping into hand as well. T-Rex coming out, going to trigger the Avalanche Trap. Ideally want to hit the Dwarven Paladin with this, and we do, which is great. We can hopefully get some of the freezing triggers to buff up this Berserker even further, if you know what I mean. We can pop the Paladin from behind if we wanted to. We'll see how he goes here. Gonna go into, okay, Castle looks like, and then follow up another Freezing Pillar that is going to freeze off the T-Rex up top. Pushing Berserker all the way back because that added swiftness bonus. The Fear, of course, giving units that pushback plus I think 1 extra movement just to really make the Fear, you know, an actual movement-esque effect. Well, I guess that's not true, but you know what I mean. Anyway, going back, we got the another armory, getting placed down here. Another swiftness. Not a whole lot of units coming out from Stinky, which kind of gives me the idea, is this more of a potentially Voltron Berserker-esque deck? Unless we're just not seeing the units in this matchup. Another Dino Nest coming out. Not great for our friend Stinky here, of course, facing down a 13-14 T-Rex with, of course, no hard removal necessarily inside of the Ninja Viking faction. Unless he is running the Frost Murder. I forget what it's called, but he can kill a frozen unit. Shadow Strike, I think, is it called? I might be wrong about that. But looks like we are going to lose it yet another Freezing Pillar to the Mordok here, generating a big Wraith. Baby Dino cleaning up the Salahar Soldier while staying alive here. All these other babies, of course, getting stronger and being pushed up. You might have the fear of a potential dinosaur evolution in there. But for now, we're going to play the Yeneroth. Looks like we are going to freeze off the Mordok. Not in an ideal position, considering that we easily could have walked it around from the top spot, bopped it from the spot back here, rather than leaving our Yeneroth here in the back, not able to do a whole lot more. We are going to see Tyrone just kind of take the more passive approach here when facing Yeneroth, going for the dual armory plays in the back. Another baby dinosaur to buff that existing T-Rex up to 16-17. And still not drawing that Frost Murder is Stinky, unfortunately. Going for the Ninja Training, we're going to see if we can find it. Nope. Going to pulverize at least one of these armories here, which is a neat little party trick, but ultimately not going to do a whole lot for him. And of course, setting another avalanche here, but opting to surrender just because he knows the game was over. And unfortunately, it was going to be. I think if I am doing my fear interactions correctly, the Yeneroth would have been pushed out of the way somehow. And then, of course, the T-Rex would have came in and chomped for that big 16 damage. Not exactly to kill, but in a very tough position for Stinky, I think, to climb back from. So, interesting that T-Rexes and dinosaurs getting the win here in match number 2. Granted, I don't think we saw a whole lot of what Stinky's deck was really capable of. We saw the early Berserker getting this sort of that Voltron energy going, and then losing that and kind of falling apart here, drawing a lot of the freeze components of his deck. So, not exactly sure if that was the right matchup for him. But hey, a matchup is a matchup. And of course, Tyrone taking match number 2, which is great to see. But folks, we do have one more match to get to for this episode. So let's go ahead and jump right in to game number 3. And folks, for our final game up of the video here, as I wander off in my train of thought, we've got Richie 150 taking on Chris, followed by a bunch of numbers, which I think means something for him, but I'm not going to try to take that away from him. We've got Richie taking on Chris here, Pirate Ninja taking on Pirate Warlock. So again, colors that you don't see too often, so it's great to see what kind of innovations players are bringing to the table for themselves here. And we're going to open up clean with a Master Thief, it looks like here. House of Daggers in the main deck as well, very peculiar. Opening up with a Coin Mugging is Richie, okay. Don't like having to deal with, I guess, Master Thief here. Altar, of course, going down under Castle. Very peculiar spot here. Behemoth are making an appearance. Okay, so Richie probably on the monster build here. That makes pretty much complete sense as to why we're seeing purple-green out of him. Of course, the Moth looking to intercept the altar, but of course, Zombie to block. That's fine. Going to go with the... Oh. Okay, so we are going to Blue Firebolt here. I imagine as well maybe Fat Bard combo. Okay, we are going to go with Fat Bard, but Kargrum is the deck of choice here for Chris. Very peculiar here. I'm curious to see how far he goes with it, if we're going to see Kargrum this match, because we don't have any Sacrifice yet in our hand to work with. So we'll just have to see here. Army of the Damned coming out now. Unfortunately, not placed correctly. We do miss a zombie. We do end up getting the Secret Dragon trigger, looks like. Okay, that's all good. Some zombies moving up as well. So pretty slow to start off, obviously. I think Chris's deck is going to take some time to get going here because he needs to establish the Swarm. Synchro Strike plus another trap going for Richie here, and a pass back. Of course, he can't really interact with a zombie, or else he does lose that Shadow Drake. Daggers, of course, being killed off now. Trap triggering after armor getting placed. It's Ayajitsu now. So, of course, the zombie's unfortunately not able to kind of get rid of it here. I'm not sure if that zombie up at the center or right under the Shadow Drake was a bit of a misplay here, but not exactly a great position to kind of keep pressing any sort of advantage here. Cannonball Barrage hitting the board now. Okay, some real nice cards going around back and forth. Yeah, being able to pop the Bard for free, which is cool. Grotesque Offering now getting popped out. That, of course, is going to draw him into Eternal Darkness. Oh, my goodness. Okay. And, of course, being the aggressive man that he is, going to push up some more zombies. Very peculiar. And, of course, we are going to take away the armory here, so that's smart from Richie, neutralizing the global buffs of the Swarm deck, making the zombies a bit more manageable to control. But I don't know if it's going to do him well against what we're going to probably see coming out this turn. We're going to see zombies going to go ahead, get traded in here. I imagine the top zombie as well going to go for the Minotaur, just because we don't want a big body out to intercept the Kargrim, which of course makes an appearance here on TV commentary. Welcome, Kargrim. I don't think this is your first time. There's a Villaroth, but guess what? That thing's got 0 attack power, so that's not going to be killing off you anytime soon. And we'll follow up with a Mordok here. Not exactly in the best of spots, but hey, whatever. We still are going to push a Mordok, I guess. Try to get a body off of the open Villaroth here. Okay, Execution, unfortunately, on the Kargrim. A bit sad, but it is what it is here. We're going to pop the Mordok with the Villaroth, yielding a Banshee. Okay, that's probably going to give us room, though, I imagine, if we do the thing we're about to do. Okay, Zombie going to clear, right? Zombie taking a 2 off face, Banshee moving in, and then yep, dropping the 1 of 2 Eternal Darkness. This is going to be very annoying for Richie, especially considering he doesn't have the global burn, of Warlocks or the Chain of Vikings, especially get up against this, horde of bodies at an already somewhat lower life total than he would have wanted. Having to murder the Banshee as well. Captain coming out, popping one of the zombies here. Daggerstorm going to try and get some kind of value, but I don't think it is, considering that he needed at least 2 ticks to pop on one zombie. That's just not feasible with this many targets on board. Zombie's going to go ahead and get popped in here to face. Yep, I'm going to pop those in. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Moving them all up, looks like. Just kind of getting real. And then, yep, okay, playing the second. All those zombies hitting the board here. And, of course, it is going to prompt Richie to surrender. Unfortunately, not able to deal with the giant swarm of zombies that we saw from Chris. But overall, though, a very entertaining game, I will say that. I mean, a lot of cards that we don't often see paired together or paired in sort of competitive play at all, like House of Daggers. We saw Cannonball Barrage. Just all these interesting card choices that I don't think you'd see in the higher levels of competitive play. But that's why I always love looking at some of the lower ranking TV matches here, because it shows you the ideas that people have. And while their star count may not be as high as some of the more recognizable names of the community, they're taking the chances to innovate and explore the different options that they have, so that way if they do come up into higher levels of play, they're more open to potentially either running a newer idea that might throw off the meta, or being prepared for whatever they might find in terms of other competition from other maybe different ranked players. So I love to see players experimenting like this. It's great. It's fantastic to see. But yeah, that is going to be it for our games. Congrats to Chris for taking that win. Let's go ahead and close out this video properly, though, shall we? Right, and with that being said, folks, that is, of course, going to bring this episode of TV Commentary to a close. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the episode, and hopefully you did enjoy the matches. Be sure to leave your thoughts on the games by leaving them down in the comments section below, as well as being sure to like the video if you did enjoy it, share with your friends, and, of course, subscribe if you're new or haven't done so already. Folks, ever so closer to 1K. Let's make that happen. Hopefully you can find it in your heart to join us on this fantastic journey. I sound like a preacher. Anyways, hopefully you guys do subscribe if you haven't already. Yeah, that is going to be it for me for now. So, until next time, stay gaming.